What you're looking at here is the cover that I put over the control box in the Tormach. This is essentially a cut up piece of shower curtain. It is the bottom of this shower curtain right there. I had some extra left over and I put it here to protect the cabinet, particularly the door here, from the flood coolant upgrade when I put it. Flood coolant system is capable of flowing about 300 gallons per hour, and I was interested in protecting the electrics, even though Tormach did a decent job of putting a, don't want to call it a seal, there's a foam ring and the sheet metal here makes a 90-degree bend, so there is something that keeps the coolant out, but it doesn't protect the panel, of course. Well, I'm looking for something that is a little bit more practical and doesn't look quite as silly as this does. So I've got it held on with magnets, and if I wanted to gain access to the panel, it's a pretty big pain in order to do that. So what I've decided to do is build a frame out of PVC, just like everything else here. Build a frame out of PVC and run the shower curtain over the thing, and basically just drop it in place. So, you know, make a hook on the top so it grabs onto it. There is a fan that needs to be exposed, but it's not a big deal. I have a Series 2 machine, so I don't have a load meter on the control panel here, but I still need access to the controls. Start and stop, obviously. Now remember that the to reset the emergency stop on the Tormach, it's a twist thing, so that was always a little bit of a pain. What I discovered was that if you press it just a little bit, you can go past the point where it shuts off, so I can actually shut it off without fully depressing the button. The switches were all fine to use. The manual spindle speed here, that dial was not easy to use, but it was possible. I found that I sort of wrinkled up the plastic every time I did it, and I had to flatten it out. Now, I've never used the spindle lockout with this, with the cover on it. The start and stop, of course, that was no problem, and I never hooked up the duality to it there. So I do have the duality lathe. So I never hooked that up. Of course, I wouldn't be running flood coolant in that case, so I would just take, if I were running the duality on the table, I would just take the cover off so I could gain access to it. No problem there at all. As you can see, some progress has been made on the frame that's going to support the shower curtain to protect the cabinet. Just the front portion of it is complete right now, and I've got the components that will be the back and then the lip at the bottom. So essentially, it'll look similar to that once it's done. The T at the top will connect to the rear. That's about it. Simple assembly. Remember, the whole idea of this is basically to protect the cabinet from the flood coolant, and at the same time be easy to remove. The last one that was on there was a shower curtain that was held on by magnets. It certainly wasn't very neat, but that wasn't a big concern to me. The bigger concern is access to the cabinet. Alright, the frame is complete. It fits pretty neatly over the top of this cabinet. One of the issues with fitment is when I put it over, the top rail there on the enclosure interferes with the portion in the back. Good thing I didn't make that any taller than I did. I made it as short as I possibly could. Now, the next thing is the cover that goes over it. I've got a PVC shower curtain that I'm going to trim and wrap around this. I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out what am I going to do to fasten it to the thing. Then I realized the shower curtain's PVC. I have PVC cement. I might as well just use it to bond the two together. So the seam should look pretty terrible. Not terribly surprising, I suppose. I didn't have a great solution to it beforehand, but that's the way it ends up, I guess. Anyway, that's the next step. It's too late this evening to finish the job, so I'll pick it up again later. Alright, you're looking at the finished frame with the shower curtain on it. First thing you'll notice is that purple line down the right hand side. That was the first seam I did, and when I made that seam, or I should say right after I made that seam where I have the flap that's looping around the back side, that's bonded to this front portion of it. Right after I did that, I realized, well, I'm gluing PVC shower curtain to PVC shower curtain. Why don't I just glue PVC shower curtain directly to the PVC pipe, which is what I did here. Why it looks much cleaner. You can see the little flap on the back side. Maybe you can in the video. Can't tell for sure. Anyway, that I just glued it right to the pipe. Did it everywhere except the bottom. I actually have it loose right here. Didn't see any purpose in sealing it up completely there. But that's it. I do have to cut a hole in the top right now for the fan, which is what I'm getting ready to do. I've had it curing for about 24 hours. I figured since it's not the close fit of PVC pipe fittings that I don't have that advantage. So I better let it sit completely and cure all the way before I go messing with it. Looking at it, I think I could probably peel this off. Yeah, it seems like it'll come off fairly easily if I really wanted to make it come off, but for the most part it doesn't look like it's going to come off on its own. So I'm going to drop it onto the top right now and then cut the hole for the fan, and then that should be it for this project. Alright, the cover's in place now, and the hideous purple section stands out like a sore thumb. I did just check the button operation. That's no problem. E-stop works fine. It is a little bit of a challenge to get this thing, there we go, to work properly, but that should loosen up over time. I suspect I'm not going to be able to turn this knob at all for manually adjusting the spindle speed, but I usually use the Mach 3 interface to do that anyway. The coolant, no problem there. All the other buttons, no problem. Everything looks good, and I can turn the key. Now, apparently turning it back on isn't quite so easy. There it is. It's all set. So cutting a hole in the top was fairly easy. No problem there. Just cut around the outside, the perimeter of the filter cover, whatever you want to call that, metal section that holds that filter section in place. That's it. Easy enough project. I would definitely do this different. No question about it. Maybe the second version. Maybe on the second version of this, what I would do is make a flap that folds over, lift it up, something like that, so you can access the controls on the underside. I don't know. Should work fine though.